Hey y'all, Organizing Higher, welcome or welcome back. On this channel, I share organization and productivity tips, tools, and resources, and I document how I am using the GTD methodology to get things done in my life and work. In this video, I'm going to talk about 3 different benefits that I find from using a projects list. Even if someone is not implementing the full GTD system, the projects list is just one of many kind of pieces to the puzzle that really helps everything all come together. So if you want to learn a bit more about how a projects list can benefit you as you are moving through your everyday life getting things done, then definitely keep watching. So my projects list is literally just a list of all of the projects that I've committed to that I can do within the next 12 months or so. This is personal projects, this is work projects, everything is all in my projects list. So the first benefit that I find in using a projects list is I can determine my capacity. So anytime I am asked to take on a new project, I can very quickly look at my list of projects that I already have and visually see represented on my list in Todoist, do I actually have capacity to take on more tasks? Sometimes the answer is yes, and sometimes the answer is no. And the added bonus of this is if the answer is no, that I can't take on more tasks or another project, then I can essentially show receipts related to that, right? So if my boss is like, hey, do you have capacity to take on this new project? I can say, actually, I'm working on this, and this. And if any of these projects that I'm currently working on need to be deprioritized so I can take on this new project, then I can make capacity. But as it stands, I don't have the capacity. So I love being able to do that. It also keeps me honest. If I feel like I am underperforming on a team, I can look at my projects list and remind myself, like, actually, I'm kicking ass. Like, look at all the things that I'm doing. On the other hand, if I feel like I'm underperforming and I can see on my list, like, oh, I am actually a little bit light, then that gives me the opportunity to take on new projects, potentially to go to my coworkers or to go to my boss and say, hey, I'm really looking for more challenges. If anybody needs help with anything, happy to provide support. Second benefit that I get from a project list is it helps me to remember the commitments that I've made and not just tasks that I have to do. The major difference for me here is that when I remember the commitments that I've made and the outcome associated with those commitments, then it's very unlikely that a project will stall. Because if I'm just thinking about individual tasks, then as soon as my task is done, I pretty much have forgotten about the next thing, particularly if the next thing is that the ball is in someone else's court. But if I have a list of projects and I'm constantly reviewing those projects as well, then I'll constantly have a reminder of, what's the commitment that I have to this project? What's the outcome? And are we there yet? And if not, then it helps me to, follow up and to make sure that I'm making forward progress on a project. And then the last benefit that I get from a projects list that I don't think is mentioned anywhere in the GTD book, but it's just something that I've personally found is valuable, is I have a record of all of my accomplishments or tasks. And this is really useful to add to a resume. So how many times have you maybe gone to apply for a job and you have to stop and think like, okay, what things have I been doing in my job? Not that you haven't been working, but you have to think back over the last, 2, 3, 5, 7 years. And if you don't have a record of all of the projects that you've been keeping, that could be hard to do. So this projects list helps me I can look in my archive projects in Todoist, and I can pull out notable projects that I've done or notable achievements or accomplishments that I've done. And I can make sure that I add those to my resume. I actually try to do this maybe once a year or so, and I time it with my evaluation that I get at work. So it helps keep me honest. I can put this on my resume or keep it in LinkedIn, and having that list of projects makes it a lot easier for me to remember, okay, what are all the things that I've done over the past year that I want to make sure that I highlight on my resume? So those are the 3 main benefits that I get from having a projects list. I love having this list of projects show up in Todoist. I love that it's built into the interface that way. What are some benefits that you all have gained from having a projects list? Or do you keep a projects list? Or maybe you don't keep a projects list? Definitely let me know in the comments below. Thanks so much for watching and have a great week.